Hello, and welcome to the Coding Corner Medical Coding Education. I'm Rebecca Brules, co-owner and educator, and welcome to Becca's Coding Lounge. Today, I am beyond thrilled to have a friend of mine here, Amber Ayers. She has her BS, her CPC, her CPB, her CPMA, and she is an AAPC approved instructor. I met her. She still serves on the AAPC CAB board, and that's how I met Amber. And thank you for being here with us today, Amber. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. So, I wanted to ask you some questions. First off, tell me how you began your career. What was your starting point? What made you want to get into this field and this type of career in the first place?
So, funny story, I actually did not start in coding and billing. I didn't even know that it existed when I first began. I went to college in Charlotte. I went to UNC Charlotte. And then when I graduated, I was working in human resources and I had my daughter. And then I decided that we wanted to move back closer to our home, Winston-Salem. So I got a job with my mother in law, and she was working for a radiation oncology group. And I started there just doing billing and pre authorizations, just part time, like verifying benefits, things like that. And over time, their coder that they had there left. And so she kind of introduced me to what coding was. But the actual office manager asked me if I would be interested in stepping into that role. And then they would send me to get my CPC. So when I first started, I didn't even know that medical coding was a thing. But once I started, there was no going back. I knew that this was exactly what I was supposed to be doing.
I mean, I went to school for it, but I had no idea after the year I went to school for coding that I originally was going to do transcription, and I was afraid I couldn't do that good. So I went into coding, but I had no idea that you needed to get a certification. You needed to do this, and people are not aware that
Right.
it takes more. And then you're right. It's like an addiction almost. You get one, and then it's like, oh, I've got this more knowledge. I can go get this one. It's like you want to keep adding on as you go.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. So tell us a little about you personally, just what you
So,
feel comfortable sharing.
okay. I'm a mom, first and foremost. I have a daughter who is 18, just turned 18, and I know, and a son who is 13. He just turned 13. Their birthdays are 2 weeks apart. So when they were smaller, we used to celebrate together, but now they don't like that so much. So we celebrate separately. So I'm a mom, of course, and then I really am very passionate about the AAPC and helping my fellow coders and billers just really get into the field and figure out their path and kind of what they enjoy. And so I spend a lot of time. I would say that's kind of my hobby. Is I spend a lot of time helping people try to find their career path, or maybe a lot of CPCAs will come to me trying to find their way. Just get that foot in the door. So I do a lot with that, and then I love to spend time with my family, going to like sporting events. I love going on vacation, traveling. So being on the cab has really been helpful for that too, getting to go to all the different health cons. And so those are really, my goal. I mean, not my goals, my hobbies that I really enjoy doing. And so that's pretty much a good general thing about myself.
That's enough. When you said it about the kids and birthdays, I understand being close. Mine were not that close, but it is hard when they're little. It's so much
Yeah.
easier to combine and do one thing, and then and especially with you, you've got teenage kids at the same
Oh,
time, so you have to be totally different. Plus, their needs and wants are way more expensive than the little kids' needs and
yes.
wants.
Yes. And they don't even know what they want half of the time. So,
It's what everybody else has got. Yeah, yeah, I get it. And I appreciated that. When I was with you on the cab, you were so always willing to step in, jump in, help. No matter what the situation was, you were super friendly and helpful. You never had the air of, I know more than you. I mean, you are a very humble person. And I think that makes a great asset to people, especially in our field. Sometimes you get around people and it's kind of like, well, we've always done it this way and that's the way it is. But it's nice to see people that do have that humble spirit to realize, hey, maybe we could do it this way and it might be easier. It might have a better flow. And you definitely show that. And I really appreciate and admire you.
Well, thank you
So
so much.
you're welcome. Your certifications, you have a lot. Can you explain them just in case somebody is interested in getting the certifications you have and like the processes that you took to get them, if you took classes or how the exams were themselves, just anything you want to say about what you have?
Yeah. So I started, of course, with my CPC, Certified Professional Coder. I took the course through the AAPC. It was not instructor led, it was just the self paced course. I took that and I guess it took about 6 months. And then I went ahead and sat for the exam and I got lucky and passed the first try, even though I don't know how, but I did.
Oh,
Um,
please.
and so for a long time, I had no desires to get any other certifications. I guess I really didn't see the purpose because as my career went along, I was already doing the things that I wanted to do that I did, and I didn't need to have that. But then as time went on, I thought, you know what? I'm already doing billing. I'm already doing medical auditing. So why wouldn't I take these courses and take this exam? Because all that's going to do is build on the knowledge that I have. So after that, I got my CPMA. And probably, gosh, I bet you it was 10 years later before I ever got my CPMA. And then, like you said, once you start that, it's like an addiction. You want to keep on, keep on, keep on. So I got my CPMA. I did the exact same thing, the AAPC course, took the exam, and I took it the very last of December of the year that they stopped doing paper exams. So not
Oh,
long, long ago, but and so then right after that, it was all started. So I was like, okay, I need to get my billing because I'm a billing and coding manager. So why wouldn't I? So
yeah.
I went back pretty much right away and did my CPB same way through the AAPC and doing the exam, through them. And I'll say that I on all three, well, no, not on the CPC, but on the CPMA and the CPB, I used the AAPC study guide to study, and it really made a huge difference. Just having that extra practice and things like that, it just learning the tips and tricks of how to take an exam because some people just aren't good test takers. And I personally don't think that I necessarily am a good test taker. I just get nervous and I'm like, I have that desire to pass so much that I'm like, I'm just going to not do well on this.
Yeah.
So, that kind of led me into finding my passion for almost teaching. So that's how I moved along into doing the AAPC instructor course because just watching my fellow chapter officers teach the review courses, it began opening my eyes to knowing that that's something that I enjoy doing. So now I have started teaching the CPMA review course, CPB review course, or review class for my local chapter. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to expand on that. I don't know if I will or if I won't. I don't know, but I know right now I really enjoy that. And then we started doing what we call study sessions through our chapter. And so we recently did I did a CPMA study session. And that's just where we had like an hour and a half session where I did it like a chapter meeting. And anybody who wanted to, needed help studying for the CPMA or had some questions about some of the content that maybe they just didn't understand, we had like 25 people on there. Yeah.
Wow.
And we just did a little study session and we went through case studies and we went through all the things that are really hard on those exams, and it was really successful, and I got a lot of really good feedback from that. And so we did a CPC one a couple weeks ago, and that one had a lot of really good feedback too. um, so that was something we started, me and my partner that does the classes together, that was something we started with our local chapter this year. So it's been successful so far, and it's really fun. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I I've learned by being doing the AAPC approved instructor, just opening up all those doors, Um, and so now I'm in that process of getting my RCMS, Revenue Cycle Management Specialist. So I'm in
Oh,
that course, and so I'll take that exam hopefully soon.
wow. That's great. And that's a great idea, honestly, for those, because you're right. It's hard. The study guides, first off, I do recommend those no matter what, because like you said, they help you and they give you, I have horrible test anxiety, but it gives you that expectation of what it's going to kind of be like. And especially now they're online. You just go in there and you have multiple attempts when you purchase the study or the study exams, the practice exams on
Yes,
APC. And it gives you that what you will look for or what you'll expect when you sit for the actual exam. I love those. I think that's the greatest idea. But and you have to have a passion for teaching, because I don't know about you. Well, when I took it, it was at a community college when I took the CPC coding classes. And the instructors that didn't have a passion for it, you could tell. And
yes,
I didn't learn as much because it was
no,
really hard to just see they were there for a check. That's all they were there for. And as you know, it's not like that now. It's
no,
switched because it's not about big money. It's about you have to have a passion to do it. And the next generation's coming up. And if they don't have us, people like us and you, and to help them and guide them, they're not going to be able to work past that test. You know what I'm saying? We need to get them trained not to pass the test, but to be able to get the job and work and succeed and all that. But that idea of those sessions is amazing, and that's such a turnout that you had for
I
those. That's
know. I thought it
awesome.
was great. I did not expect that at all.
No, that's
Um,
awesome.
and one lady, she took her test like a couple of days later and passed, and she was like, "Thank you so much, for that session. That really helped me, just have that extra help
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I mean, it's easy to sit and read a study guide or take those tests over and over and over. But when you have the actual, somebody who's done it before and somebody who can explain to you the reasoning behind why an answer is what it is, it's you're not just learning it to take the test like you said. You're actually learning it to apply it in your career. And so
right.
I think that's so important.
And that's the best thing. When you just said it, it's sometimes it takes that just talking it out with people. And
Yes.
if you've been there and you've done it and you know the answer, don't tell me the answer is. I want to know how you found out, because when I go sit for that test, you're not going to tell me if that's the right answer or not. I'm going to have to know how to find it. And you don't have time to, you know, do that in
Right.
your head. So if somebody like you were to help them say, here's how you get to this is why you get to this, then they'll think about that when they're taking the test and it might help them. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's
And
awesome.
just being able to give them tips like, hey, when you're doing those case studies, you don't need to read the whole 3 pages of case studies. Let's look at what the question is first, and then you know
Yeah,
what you need to look at.
I know.
Those
Because
kind of things.
and even in life, some of these op reports are filled with so much fluff that it's
Yes.
not about, dissecting every single word for word.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you've got to just get what you need and do it right. I'm not saying that, but get what's pertinent, code what's pertinent, get it out. Don't spend a lot of your time going through and researching every little thing. If you know it's not pertinent to that case, move on and don't spend a lot of time focusing on it.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your job career experience, which you did touch on that earlier. So you went from human resources and
Mhm.
then you did some insurance and authorizations. And then where did you go after that as far as career steps and path
So
to where you
that
are now?
that led me after my office manager at that time talked to me about doing coding, and I went ahead and did that and got my certification. I worked there for about 6 years just doing coding, still doing pre-authorizations because when you work for a small practice or a private practice, not necessarily even small, but a private practice, you wear many hats. And so I
Mhm.
wasn't just coding, but I will tell you that I am so grateful for that because just being able to know the revenue cycle as a whole has really opened my career up. So, but going from that, I ended up going and I decided after 6 years, I kind of got not necessarily bored of doing radiation oncology, but I thought I can't spend my whole entire career just coding this, or I'm never going to learn anything else. So I ended up going to work for Atrium, or at that time it was Wake Forest Baptist Health, um, as a pathology coder, pathology in lab. And so I did some coding for pathology and then some claim edits for like the lab parts of it. So I learned all those different lab tests and what can be built together. And I mean, it wasn't necessarily fun, but it was such a good learning experience because whenever you get into auditing, you use all of that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
it worked. I mean, and at the time I didn't know that all of these things that I was, these careers that I was doing was leading to something else. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
feel like it really does. And so after that, I went and worked at Novant Health for about 4 years doing I coded outpatient surgeries, observation charts, things like that. And so at that point, I had been coding and billing for several years, and I thought, you know what, I had been a chapter president for my chapter several different times, and so I knew that I wanted to go into like a leadership role. And so when I was working for Novant, you couldn't do that at that time without having a RHIT or RHIA for the particular place I worked at. And so I knew I was kind of at a roadblock. And so I just started looking for opportunities, and being chapter president or even being an officer, you get a lot of opportunities that kind of flow through your desk just so you can
Mm-hmm.
share with the members. And so what I do now, the billing and coding manager for Salem Chest, kind of just flowed through my desk. And so it just kind of fell in my lap, honestly. And so I always knew I wanted to go back to doing billing and coding. So I felt like it was like the best opportunity for me. And so, I have learned so much just from being there. I feel like when I started, I probably wasn't like the best for that role because I was so new to leadership and I really didn't know what I was doing. And so, but over the years, you just learn. You
Yeah.
learn the specialty that you're working in. You learn how to be a better leader. It's just a great learning experience. And you don't realize that all the careers that you do, like coding and billing for all these different specialties, they all help build on that foundation of all the knowledge you're going to need, for if you do go in leadership or even, anything really. Yeah.
Exactly right. It is so funny how you can switch from one specialty to another and think, "Oh, why am I switching?" But it just gets in your head and gives you that knowledge to where the next time you start something, you're like, "Yeah, I know what that was because I used to do it here." I mean, it gives you that build up, and
It
that's
does.
good to have. Yeah. So
Almost kind of like being a doctor, because doctors, they really don't know in the beginning what specialty they want to do, and
yeah,
then it kind of, as they go along, it's the same way. We don't know at the beginning exactly what we like to do, and then you just kind of fall into whichever one you prefer to do the most, and then you end up like loving that and then just building on it, I feel
yeah, yeah. Right.
like.
That's awesome. Okay. What guidance could you give to other coders, whether they were new, fresh out of school, or fresh taking their CPC exam, or experienced coders? What guidance or advice would you give them that was most crucial in your mind?
Well, first and foremost, for new coders, you know, get your foot in the door somewhere. Don't have that expectation whenever you first get your CPCA that you're going to automatically get the highest paying job working remotely with the most lenient hours and life is going to be grand. We all had to work up to that. I mean, most of us didn't start out like that. I didn't. I started out working in an office, and actually I'm back to working in an office, or I have a hybrid position now. So,
Hmm.
but just be realistic about your expectations when you first get your CPCA because you don't have that knowledge. And coming from a manager's perspective, I can understand why a lot of the hospitals want you to have that experience like a couple of years under your belt. And that's just because if you jump right in that, you're going to be so lost. Like some people get it. They're not lost. But even me, when I jumped into doing facility coding and I had been coding for, gosh, 8 or 9 years, it was still a whole different ball game. So, don't take that as a negative thing. Take it as a positive thing. Take it as, okay, I'm new in this field. I need to learn and build on that foundation. Apply for, even if you don't think that you qualify for jobs, apply for them anyways. Somebody once told me, one of the leaders that I admire so much, told me back in when I worked for Novant, she said, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And so it kind of goes the same way. If you don't apply, then you're not going to get the job. So that's just how that kind of works. And then I always tell people who have been coding and maybe they're, coding for a while and they're switching careers or switching specialties or whatever. Always know that whenever you start or whenever you're in our field, you're not just going to come in and code and go home. I spend lots and lots of time outside of work researching, bronchoscopies. I've spent a lot of time reading the news and, everything from CMS and all the different things that are changing. It doesn't just stop whenever you leave from work. You're going to be having to keep doing that. Even if it's doing CEUs through your local chapter, you're still spending time outside of work, doing that. And so don't be afraid to do that. And, it's not going to hurt anything. And honestly, if you really love what you're doing, you're going to want to do that anyway. So it's not really, it's not a big deal to me anyways.
No, that's right. It's like, a misconception maybe that people do. First off, think, yes, I'm going to pass that test. I'm going to get a job, work from home, like you said. And I feel so good to tell people and let them know, do not, people get discouraged. And I'm like, don't get discouraged. And I agree with you. Take what you can to get in there and get it, because you will be better off if you do than just quitting and saying, oh, I can't find a job. Forget it. I'm not going to do it. You need to take that step, like you said, climb the ladder like you should and gain along the way. And it is an ever continuing education thing.
Yes.
And things change so fast and so much. And you do have to keep up with stuff, not just while you're at work or whatever. You have to keep up with it and keep everything current, not just your certification, but everything else. You have to do it to do your job well. So, yeah, that's a good point.
And I
But
tell
we
them,
don't,
don't give up. People get so frustrated because it takes them a long time straight out of school, to get a job. And I'm like, I understand, but keep trying. Don't give up. And even if it takes you a year, keep trying. Something is going to come up.
yeah,
Just keep on trying. Do not give up.
it's right. It's right. I see it on Facebook, and I feel so sorry for people because I think, what if some of us would have given up? Because I know I got discouraged. I know I felt like quitting lots of times, thinking, I've got 3 little babies. I can't do this. Can't go to school and work full time. I can't do it. I get it. I know it's hard to get through that, but you can't, like, you cannot quit. You cannot quit if that's what you want. You have to make that step, and you have to really put everything you have on yourself. You have to bet everything on yourself, and you have to stick with it. Those exams are not easy. They don't make them to be easy. That's purpose. So don't think, oh, it's just a test. I can do it, and blah blah blah. It's not. It's that way for a reason, and that's the way we want it to be. We don't want it to be to where you don't have to have those skills to pass it, or everybody would have it, and it wouldn't give us any credibility at all. So yeah, to not.
And you really wouldn't know how to do your job, honestly, if you don't. I mean, you've got to know those guidelines.
Yeah.
Especially now, insurance companies, they will deny it. If you miss those exclude 1, exclude 2, forget it. So it really applies in real life. I mean, every single day.
Just over the last few years, I have noticed more and more and more how they will just nitpick everything and find everything to deny, to get it timely or deny it. And it's just going to get worse. It's not going to get any better.
You're exactly right.
Yeah. So you had mentioned that you're taking your RC. What is RC?
A revenue cycle management specialist.
Okay. And you're studying for it, and you're going to take it. Do you feel like maybe you'll take another one in the future?
I mean, if I'm going to be honest with you, probably. Well, I mean, I have a lot of different things that interest me and that I, being in billing and coding combined, there are so many different things that you can do. I mean, I do auditing, I do billing, I do coding. I do a lot with the revenue cycle as far as helping with workflows and, even from front desk all the way to authorizations and, you know, um, denials and, everything. So, I mean,
Yeah.
there are so many different specialties and different certifications that you can get now. I mean, why
Right.
not? I think I would like to do the E&M probably coming up next. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have any desire to do it. In cardiology, no. I am taking, while I'm doing the CPPM, I'm going to sit for it. I've got the study guide. I'm working
mhm.
on it, so I'm going to do it. But yeah, it's like when I first got my CPC, the APC didn't really, which this was way back in the day, didn't really have a lot of billing
Yeah,
credentials or certifications. It was mostly coding, and that was it. So I was glad to see that now they've incorporated more on the billing side because, like you said, they work hand in hand, and you really
yeah,
do have to know some a little about one to do the other. You don't have to know everything, but you need to. They kind of work together, and you have to
they
know a
do.
little bit about.
And just going through the revenue cycle management course, I've noticed it is very similar to the CPB. There's a lot of similarities. So,
Oh,
and I was talking about this to someone else the other day. A lot of the specialties, because they do go hand in hand. You'll see that those are not specialties, but the credentials, like the
mhm,
CPB, CPMA, because they go hand in hand, then some of the information is going to overlap. So you're going
right,
to already know some of it, anyways.
right,
Yeah,
right. So it just makes sense.
right.
Hmm. Well, is there anything else you want to say to people that are watching us?
No, just thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. I like doing things like this, and so and congratulations on the coding corner. That's very exciting for you as well.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Kristen and I, we're working good together and getting everything started. But we really appreciate you being here with us today. And everybody can find us at www.decodingcornermce.com. And thank you for watching. Thanks, Amber.
Thank you.